There are many incredible alien species that capture the imagination in the Star Trek universe, from incredible warrior species like the Klingon, the Gorn, or the Jem'Hadar, to the awesome alien species with cultures and traits so heavily and well established in the lore that they feel like they are real species in real life, like the Vulcan, Ferengi, or Bajorans, as well as other great threatening aliens like the Changelings of the Dominion, the calculating and deadly Cardassians, or the menacing mechanical Borg, have graced our screens and captured our imagination. But in a franchise that has 12 television series and 10 films currently, as well as hundreds of alien species in those series, there's bound to be a few stinkers. And that's the case with the incredibly boring Kazon species, who are, in my opinion, the single most boring, recurring, and major sentient alien species in the Star Trek mythos. The Kazon first appeared in Star Trek Voyager, the fifth Star Trek television series, which began airing in 1995 and ended in 2001. Voyager has many awesome moments and characters, but the Kazon are definitely not one of its more amazing elements. In the first Voyager episode, titled Caretaker, the crew of the USS Voyager under Captain Catherine Janeway are launched into the Delta Quadrant, 75 years from home. They are now in unfamiliar territory, amongst unknown aliens from unidentified planets, flying through uncharted space. And the primary villains that attack them numerous times in the opening seasons are the Kazon. The Kazon were intended to feel like pirates or scavengers, but to me always just came across as a warrior race like a Klingon. The crew on set had a well-documented hatred for the Kazon, as their makeup was extremely difficult to apply. Even in comparison to other seemingly more complicated Star Trek races, they were one of the hardest to maintain. And thus they were written out of Voyager by the end of Season 2. The hatred for the Kazon by the cast and crew carried over to many of the fans, including myself. I think my biggest gripe with the Kazon is just the simple fact that they are so boring. You literally launched a Starfleet starship 70-some years from known space, and this is all you could come up with? They would later rectify this more in Voyager with more interesting species, like Species 742 and the Hirogen. But as an introduction to species in the Delta Quadrant, the Kazon are super bland. They come across as watered-down beta Klingons. Their species names sound similar, and both begin with a K, Kazon versus Klingon. They both have bumpy raised cranial foreheads. They have distinctive and long hairstyles, though they are different from each other. Something about the Kazon hair still reminds me of the Klingons. Their outfits and garb are similar, and they come across as the same kind of fierce warrior race. You had literally anything you could imagine to play with for the Delta Quadrant, and the first adversaries of the show are boring Klingon ripoffs. I'm glad the Kazon didn't last long in the show, and I just wanted to talk about why I find the Kazon so frustratingly dull. But what about you guys? Does anyone like the Kazon? Or can everyone universally agree that they are a pretty boring race that didn't have time to be fleshed out and are too uninteresting in the first place to warrant fleshing them out anyways? Let me know.